my control. Your light is gone, and lonely darkness fill my soul. I wish that you could save me from my isolation. It's way too complicated. Let's stop this conversation. Let's stop this conversation. We got no relation.
Yo guys, what is up? Max on a Borderlands 4 video, and today we're going over What Which. Now, this is kind of a update slash rework of our old Vexecutioner build. That was a kill skill build. My goal for this build was to make a Vex build that can use any weapon, and that's just like very versatile. I've made a lot of build guides in this game, and while I've been doing that, I keep coming back to the builds that are the most versatile, even if they're not the strongest in certain senses, builds that can kind of put on any weapon and just perform. And while we were messing around with this build, we found a awesome synergy that works with the SMG, the Oh My God, which I've never used in a build before. I'd actually tried a bunch of times, even on Vexecutioner, I tried, and it was terrible. However, it seems like in a recent hotfix or patch, Gearbox has buffed the range of the Oh My God, and so this thing now hits like really far away. The range on it is genuinely crazy. Like, this used to be a weapon that would go like 4 feet. And now you can shoot really far away, which makes it great to use. And so while this build is going to be featuring the Oh My God a lot, because it is incredibly synergistic with this particular build, this is kind of a use any weapon Vex build. I hope you guys enjoy the breakdown. Let's get right into it. So the core of this build is still Vexecutioner. We are using a Teen Witch class mod that reads when Vex has maximum health, her lifesteal partially applies to her shield. When Vex has maximum shield, her lifesteal partially grants overshield. This is great for survivability. However, there's a really key like synergy with this that I was missing too, actually, when we made the original Vexecutioner build. And that was, one, I didn't realize that amp shields even existed in the game. It was very early in Borderlands 4's lifespan, and we didn't really know that amp shields could even roll. And so, like, just putting on an amp shield allows us, with the Wants for Dinner, to amp all of our shots, which is really, really powerful, because it's going to give us a ton of extra damage. And the other thing that we're doing on this build that I wasn't taking advantage of in the original video is because the Teen Witch can roll into Grave Thirst. Grave Thirst gives us a lot of lifesteal, which is great for our survivability. It's great for our shield, but Grave Thirst is also going to give us stacking lifesteal, which we can then benefit massively from with Blood is Power. Blood is Power gives us bonus kinetic damage, and this is one of Vex's strongest skills. And with the Teen Witch, we get a ton of lifesteal that we normally wouldn't have, and so we're rocking Blood is Power on this build, which the original build didn't have, which is giving us even more damage. Now, the biggest weakness of the Vexecutioner build was ammo economy. We were spec'd into Drink Full with Witchy Trigger Finger. We had points into Grave Assault, and our fire rate was just ridiculous. And I found myself running out of ammo basically in every room. I was just constantly out of ammo. And one of the big ways that we've solved that is with the Oh My God. Now, this SMG, reads energy transfer when energy shield is active, grants plus 50% damage by consuming the shield's energy instead of ammo. When overshield is also active, energy shield will not deplete. So as long as you have a energy or an overshield while you're using this thing, you do not consume ammo. You have infinite ammo as long as you have overshield, And with the Teen Witch class mod, all of our healing when we have full shield is going to our overshield. So we're constantly being able to just like we can just hold down the trigger for the oh my god through an entire drill set. You literally never need to let go of your trigger because you will be constantly getting overshield back. And this allows the build to do some crazy things because one, the oh my god will chain to enemies, so it's fantastic for mobbing, but it's also a weapon that we can pay off all of our fire rate, because when we have a ton of fire rate, a lot of times you have to constantly reload, which is a huge DPS loss. And when we never have to reload, it's a huge improvement not only to quality of life but also to our damage. And so the oh my god is perfect on this build because it solves a lot of the original downsides. And when I tried this weapon originally, it was really, really frustrating to use. The big issue with the oh my god, well, now it has the range, so it doesn't really have that issue. But as you can see, it's chaining from one enemy to the next, which is part of the reason why it's so great for mobbing. But the oh my god does have the issue of if you're close to an enemy, it can down you. I'm not sure if it'll get it to proc on here, but if you do get close to an enemy, it can down you, which is very frustrating. It hurts your survivability. And because it had such limited range, there was a very, very small window where this gun was actually effective because you had to get close to enemies to shoot at them. And when you got close, you were also putting yourself at risk of dying. And so now with its range buff, it just feels really great to use. You do want to make sure that you're distancing yourself from enemies a little bit, but it's just so much stronger now. So that's kind of a general overview of the build. Now we'll get into the specifics. So for Green Tree, we've got a lot invested into Green Tree. I'll explain why in a second. But we're putting points into Grave Sights. This gives us increased crit damage and gun handling. We are a kill skill stacking build. Anything that has max stacks of 3 kill skills, we're going to benefit from massively because of Grave Power. Basically doubles our value from Grave Sights. Now, this used to give gun handling, which was bugged to lower your projectile speed. I think maybe that getting fixed is partly why the oh my god is working now. Maybe it's like projectile speed was lowering how far it could fire, but with this ton of gun handling, this build just feels really great, and we get a bunch of crit damage. We're also going Grave Implements, which is 120% gun damage at full stacks, which is just ridiculous. And then we're going Target Prescience. Now, this is a these 5 points are quite specific to the oh my god. The reason for that is most of the time when you're firing the oh my god, even if your crosshairs are on someone's head, a lot of the times it will shoot center mass. This does have like a little bit of like homing towards enemies. You don't need to be exactly on them all the time, and it does seem like it doesn't home into their head very often. And so we are a kill skill build. Our kill skills need to be proccing all the time, and Mortal Terror, which allows our kill skills to proc on crits. If we're not critting at all with the oh my god, then we're not really getting the value out of it. So Target Prescience allows us to get that gun crit chance. We're firing so quickly with this thing that we're proccing crits all the time with it. And so that's actually a huge quality of life. When we've got Grave Power for more kill skills, we're also going Drink Full for more fire rate, and then Mortal Terror is what is allowing us to proc all of our kill skills whenever we're shooting enemies. Now, some changes to the build. We're now going into this right side of the tree, which I wasn't going before. We're going Ars Arcana for more skill damage. We'll talk about Bleed in a second. I kind of want to explain my reasoning with that. And then we're also picking up Essence Leech, more lifesteal, more survivability, but also more damage, because if we have a bunch of lifesteal, then we are constantly amping all of our shots, and then we're turning all of that lifesteal into damage with Blood is Power, which is just super, super nice. Now, I tried a bunch of different specs on this build, and I went and tested them against bosses, and I timed the runs and tried to see which was giving us the most consistent, fastest bossing kills, and I had points into Grave Assault for the extra fire rate. We tried with Graded Fiends. We tried with some bonuses into Enhancement. And the setup that was getting me the most consistent, good feeling kills was actually with Bloodletter. And I think a big part of the reason for this is because we fire really, really quickly, and with throwing knives, we can get guaranteed crits, which are proccing bleeds. Our bleeds, because we're shooting so fast and we're shooting so hard, are dealing like hundreds of thousands of damage per second, and we're stacking that up to 20 stacks, which is a ton of our damage. And Blood is Power gives us another proc instance of bleed, so we can get just a lot of bleed damage, which Ars Arcana is giving us even more bleed damage. Bleed is not like a huge part of the build, but when I tried putting these points elsewhere, everything else just felt weaker. In our red tree, we're going to be putting 2 points into Grave Sustenance so that we get action skill duration restored whenever we kill an enemy. We can also practice with our kill skills because it is a kill skill. So our action skill uptime is fantastic on this build. You can do multiple drill sites in a single action skill. And then we're putting 1 point into enchantment mainly because the additional source of bonus kinetic damage allows us to get an additional chance of proccing bleed, which is real quality of life. Also, for our action skill, I should mention that most of the time for bossing, I'm using Witchy Trigger Finger. For mobbing, I usually put on Grave Harvest. Grave Harvest isn't necessary, typically, because we do get a lot of action skill back from Grave Sustenance, but it is, in my opinion, the better choice. Don't really need to use Witchy Trigger Finger all that much for mobbing. I think it'll just kind of get insta-killed. For weapons on this build, once again, this is kind of a use any weapon build. The Oh My God is absolutely the standout, at least from my testing. However, like, for example, this weapon isn't technically as strong as, like, a bod, for example, for bossing. So if you, like, really want to melt a boss, like, super, super fast, you can use a bod. It's just the strongest weapon in the game. I'm imagining people are probably getting some fatigue from the amount of bods in build videos. So I'm trying to, like, not use it as much. But yeah, the bod is absolutely fantastic on this build. We have a ridiculous amount of gun damage. All of that gun damage just feeds 5x into the bod, which is crazy. Also, I should mention, on your Oh My God, you want to find Ripper. I don't think it can roll any other licensed parts besides Ripper, but Ripper's really important on the Ohm because... not because it's good for the gun, but because it's good for your enhancements. There's really not any good Maliwan enhancements for the Oh My God, because we don't care about the dot damage on this, and all the Maliwan enhancements are like dot spread, dot damage. If you get Ripper, you get a much wider pool of powerful enhancements, so look for Ripper on that. Bonnie and Clyde, fantastic weapon on this build, and then also the original weapon that we're using on Vexecutioner, the Kyozen, still also fantastic. You can use this to sticky stack. Some other ones that I really like, the Anarchy is great. The Queen's Rest is really solid. The Stray is fantastic for mobbing as well. I personally prefer the Ohm on this particular setup, but that's great. The GMR is really good. TK's Wave is really good. Spread Launcher one-shots are really good. Hot Slugger is disgusting on this build. You're just constantly getting huge amp shots and just one-shotting everything with it. Hot Slugger is also really, really solid. For our rep kits for bossing, I was mainly using a shiny war paint for the extra fire rate, and I had Enrage on mine for more damage dealt. For mobbing, you can put on a Kill Spring for even more healing if you'd like. I don't think it's really necessary on our particular setup, but Kill Spring is also quality of life. For our throwing knife or our ordnance, I was using the crit knife with the penetrator augment. In a recent update, after they made it not locked to 30% crit chance, this is no longer locked at 30. It's additive 30, but it is additive 30 with itself. So you can throw 3 crit knives and get a 90% crit chance. On this build for us, that's a 100% crit chance. So it's basically like having the old throwing knife back. Just a little silly. I don't know if that's intentional or if they're going to change it again. But yeah, crit knife is currently stacking with itself. So you can get a ridiculous amount of crit chance. On your Teen Witch, the number one thing you want is 3 into Grave Thirst. That's going to give us more survivability, more uptime of our shield, and also more damage. For the other points, I think you'd probably want them in conjunction, to be honest. I don't have any real points into that for extra gun damage. Right now, mine is into Corporeal, which gives us more maximum overshield capacity and more damage dealt. This is also definitely very good. I think you'd squeeze out a little bit more damage with conjunction, but this is nice quality of life. The big thing is you really want to get 3 into Grave Thirst. For some reason, this class mod can't roll 5 into it. I don't know if that is known to Gearbox, but this build would be even stronger if you could get 5 there. And then I had shotgun damage and lifesteal. Definitely prefer like SMG damage for our particular setup. For the watts for dinner, I was using an amp watts. If you don't have a like double amp rolled watts, you could just use a normal one. You could also get away with a Guardian Angel with amp on this build. You're mainly just looking for any sort of shield with amp. Watts for dinner just happens to be the best because on this build, we're also getting 25% bonus shock damage. And then for your enhancement for the Ohm, for most of these stuff, I was just rocking this enhancement. the Hefty Pounder, just because it had gun damage and SMG fire rate. I did get a crazy enhancement from my Discord, which has the reason, as I said, that you'd want to go Ripper is because you can get hard charge for 25% increased damage, but charge times increased by 30%. You will need to charge the Oh My God once because it doesn't run out of ammo, so you just hold down the trigger, and now you just have a gun with 25% increased damage. It also could roll with High Roller. Guns with Ripper licensed parts increase gun damage by 2% for each consecutive shot fired for a maximum of 25 stacks. This is another 50% gun damage, so that's crazy. And all of these things are not possible unless you get a Ripper roll on the Ohm, so that's where things get really, really awesome. And then anything that boosts like more fire rate on this would also be really good. For our firmware, I was rocking 3 Deadeye for the gun accuracy crit damage and the stacking crit damage, as well as high caliber for the extra projectile speed and the 10% gun damage multiplier. You could rock like a 1 God Killer, 1 reload speed with like a COV, which is what I was using before. Don't think it's really necessary because on this build we don't really need to reload. So I ended up going with high caliber for the extra gun damage. For our specializations, we're rocking best defense for the 30% damage dealt when our health or shield is full. This will be up all the time, so that's really nice. Riddle You This gives us even more gun damage. Pretty self-explanatory there. And then I like Now With Caffeine on this build, just because there are going to be times that you down yourself accidentally with the Oh My God, and if that happens, your action skill goes on cooldown, which is a real pain in the ass. So just being able to press your you don't need to use your rep kit for anything else besides Now With Caffeine, that and like a damage buff technically. So just having this on handy, and when you do go down, if you like self kill, then you can just press that back and then go back into your action skill. We do have a lot of extra bonus damage in our action skill. And then the last specialization point I'd either put in the zone for the gun damage, gun crit. This is kind of a up to you option. It just depends. Do you aim down sights with your weapon? You definitely don't need to in this game. So if you are aiming down sights, I'd rock in the zone. If you're not aiming down sights, I'd rock contamination, because this is going to give us even more status effect application chance, which is a direct damage increase to our bleed, which is just nice quality of life. Really depends. If you are aiming down sights a lot, use in the zone. If not, rock contamination. Can't go wrong with either. Guys, that's going to do it for the build guide. I hope you enjoyed. I will catch y'all in the next one. Take care, guys. Peace.